Hey, you wary traveler, welcome back to another video. Yes, ooh la la, new intro, how nice. Definitely not me cutting corners in production quality as a means to make these videos a bit more faster and easier to upload. No, don't be ridiculous. Anyway, if you're here, you're looking for some ripper good story, so let's not dilly-dally any longer and let's get straight into it. Whee! Our first story by Exciting Insurance 6. Am I the a-hole for reprimanding someone with autism? I work as a job coach for a transitional, after high school, work program for young adults with developmental disabilities. Restrictions have been eased a bit where I live, and so school and businesses and organizations have been opening back up. Recently, I was assigned to mentor a young woman with Asperger's. She has poor self-awareness and likes to talk a lot, and sometimes needs to be redirected to stay on task or when she makes rude remarks. Now today, one of our other job coaches came back to work for the first time since March. She recently had a baby and put on a little bit of weight. We chatted and looked at her baby pictures, and the girl that I'm mentoring goes, "God, you got so fat. What have you been eating?" Awkward silence. I force her to apologize immediately. I then take her to another room and told her that was a very rude thing to say. She recently had a baby, and when you were pregnant, you can put on weight. But that doesn't mean you point it out to her. Not only does she already know that she put on weight, but it's rude to just say that to someone. She then goes, "I have autism. I can't help it." I then go, "No, it's not an excuse. You are able to treat people with kindness and not say things like that. And when you slip up, you apologize." Well, she started crying after, and I had to let her go have a break. When she went home, she told her mum what had happened, and she called us and went ballistic and started screaming at me and my supervisor that I'm ableist. We're having a meeting with my supervisor, HR, her, and her mum on Monday. I already feel terrible, but I have seen this girl use her diagnosis to cop out for being rude to others, whether it's her peers or other staff. So am I the a-hole in this situation? Not the a-hole. My entire family is on the autism spectrum, and we still know how to be polite to people. Using a diagnosis as an excuse to be a pee-pee is disgusting. Autistic people say rude things on accident. A-holes don't apologize when they say rude things. And I'm on the spectrum, so I feel like I can talk here. Not the a-hole. The worst people are the ones that use disabilities or differences as excuses. If she was really sorry, she'd apologize and say she'd work harder, not cop out and blame her autism. Not caring about others isn't a sign of autism, it's a sign of sociopathy. Her form of autism means she lacks social awareness, but she's not an idiot. She just wanted to call someone fat and then didn't want to admit that wasn't okay to do. That's not autism, that's being a jerk. Seems to make sense. As someone who used to habitually excuse people's behavior based on their mental disability, this is a side of the situation I would have never dared to think about at first. I also think it might be possible that the mentee just doesn't understand the difference between explaining and excusing, and likely thinks that the two of them are the same. Everyone sucks here. I agree that she crossed the line, but you were not in a place to drag her to apologize to anyone. Okay, but he's the job coach for people with developmental disabilities. It sounds like that is absolutely his job. Yeah, not the a-hole. What exactly is the point in having someone to support and assist if they're not meant to correct actions that could be detrimental to the client? "I can't help it" is akin to saying, "I won't try." Unless you were going mental on her, then explaining why what she did or said was wrong and what she should do the next time is exactly what you should be doing, with the aim to make sure that she doesn't wind up isolated and unable to function in society. Failing because she has greater challenges learning certain cues is fine, obviously, but refusing to accept that she can do better isn't autism, it's laziness. And yeah, anyone with any permanent or long-term issues, physical or mental, does get the lazies occasionally, because everything being hard all the time is exhausting. But giving up isn't really an option. Refusing to help her learn from her mistakes just because of her autism would be ableist. What you did was your job. This story by Debego. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to pay the student loans that my parents took out for me? My parents took out a huge loan for me to go to college out of state freshman year. It's called the Parent Plus loan. They already paid a portion of it, but expect me to pay the rest after graduation. I mean, I understand that these loans are for me, but legally, they are not under my name. Also, I transferred out of that school realizing I couldn't afford it any longer, so now I go to college in state. Oh yeah, the moment you pointed out, for me, that didn't help your defense. You're the a-hole. Your parents didn't get the loan for their own gains. They did it to benefit you so that you can afford to go to college. Your parents didn't have to do it, but they did it because they want you to have the best education you can get. They paid for a portion, and in my opinion, you should at least help them pay and show some gratitude. Now, obviously, we don't understand the full context. We don't know if they really pushed him into going to college, or if he was pushing them into getting him into college. On one end, that would totally make him the a-hole for putting this financial pressure onto them, but also could completely excuse him wanting to drop out because it was something he never truly felt like he was meant to be doing in the first place. No a-holes here. Here's the thing. Yes, the loans are in their name, but it's money that was used towards your education. You don't have to pay it legally, but it sounds like not paying them would really harm your relationship with your parents. Decide what's more important to you, the money or your relationship with your parents. And if it's your pups, figure out a payment system that would work well for all of you. Yeah, info, who decided you had to go to college out of state? You or your parents? And the exciting conclusion? Me. I kind of pressured them into taking out the plus loan for me. It was my dream school and I really wanted to go. We just couldn't afford it. Ooh, yeah, scratch everything I said before. Then yeah, you're definitely responsible for them. Well, in this case, you are the a-hole. You insisted on going to school out of state and pressured them to take out this loan. It was your decision, and they are not obligated to bankroll your expensive choices. If you wanted it and pushed them for it, you should pay for it. You're lucky they're paying any of it. Very much in agreement right there. Yatta, buddy. This next story by Small Day 1986. Am I the a-hole for embarrassing my boyfriend at a restaurant? Okay, this is really stupid, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the a-hole, but this happened over a year ago, and my boyfriend keeps bringing this up as an example of me trying to undermine him. Toxic masculinity incoming? Let's find out. So, both my boyfriend and I love food. Not too uncommon, obviously. We're also pretty athletic. I'm a runner, so I'm relatively small, around 100 pounds at 5'4", while he's an Olympic weightlifter and occasional bodybuilder, so he's a lot bigger, probably like 200 pounds at 6 feet. The thing is, I have an enormous appetite, way bigger than his. Honestly, I'm kind of embarrassed at how much I can eat, which is often way more than him. So, last year, we went to a restaurant that has a 96-ounce steak challenge. Basically, you have to finish a 96-ounce steak plus a bunch of sides in an hour, and you get the meal for free. I honestly had very little doubt I could finish it. Boyfriend and I went to the restaurant with a few friends, and I said I wanted to try the challenge. Boyfriend said he wouldn't pay for it if I couldn't finish it. But, like I said, I was pretty sure I would finish it. He had been to the restaurant before, and he ordered a more normal meal. I don't remember exactly what, but some kind of steak that was probably closer to like 18 ounces. I made a bet with him that I would not only finish my meal, but would finish it before he did, and he accepted. Well, that meal comes, and I finish in under an hour. Boyfriend can't even finish his meal. I end up finishing for him. Our friends that were with us laughed and congratulated me and teased my boyfriend that his girlfriend of half his size could out-eat him so much, and I told him to pay up. After we separated from our friends, he went off on me, telling me I embarrassed him in front of our friends and emasculated him? I honestly don't think I am an a-hole for this, but he keeps bringing this up as an example of me trying to undermine him in public. Am I the a-hole for out-eating him and embarrassing him in front of our friends? Okay, so not exactly toxic behavior, but definitely rather fragile. Personally, I want to avoid genuinely labeling it as toxic or fragile masculinity specifically because, well, let's be honest, fragility and toxic behavior isn't restricted to gender. But regardless, this guy definitely has an image issue, nonetheless. Though by the wording he's using, it doesn't sound like this is the first time you've made bets and definitely beat him at it. Of course, that's completely excusable as just you having a more competitive personality than he's aware of, or at the very least comfortable with. So I don't think you're in the wrong for just, wanting to have a bit of competition with him. But where I do think you need to fix up is just being aware of that about him. Clearly he isn't as crazy about winning as you are and doesn't appreciate you rubbing it in his face every time you do win. Of course it would help if he better explained that. Everyone sucks here. Ish. If you knew you were going to win, why make a bet? If I were in his shoes, I'm a man, 200 pounds, 6 foot, and my girlfriend made a bet with me, she knew she'd win, and then she rubbed it in my face, yeah, I'd feel upset. Not that I lost, but that beating me was more important to her than respect. Now, I personally hate bets of that nature. It just feels like an intentional jab. Men have feelings too, and it's painful when a partner makes fun of you and doesn't have your back with things, no matter how small. I think you should apologize for making him feel weak, but you should never apologize for being strong. Tell him you're sorry if you hurt him and that you won't put him on the spot like that again. And tell him you want him to apologize for undermining your achievement. You both should lift the other up and cheer each other on. You shouldn't be jealous or envious of the other. Relationships aren't about competition, they're about teamwork. I guess I can be quite biased here considering I am a guy, and especially as a guy who's not really good at winning things or winning bets in general. I can definitely understand the point of view of viewing someone making a bet as an excuse to one-up them at something and brag about it to their face. Like as if you were implying the entire time that you thought you were better than them. But again, I know I'm kind of biased here, so I don't want to put that as my final opinion. Not the a-hole. Look, I get why he's upset, but it was a bet that he entered into. So tough luck. Suck it up. Yeah, Natar, he sounds a little petty. What did he expect when you guys made that bet? That you would just throw it out for his ego? He needs to put on his big boy pants. You're not the a-hole. You bet him, he accepted the bet, and now he doesn't like the outcome. It sounds like his ego about his manhood is wrapped up in how much he did or didn't eat compared to you, which is kind of sad. And that's the thing. If you do love him, what he really is projecting is he's insecure. What you choose to do with that information is up to you. If this relationship is important to you, I'd say be cautious. A year later, he's not over what he feels is a slight, so he's struggling still. Like, I don't know the other dynamics at play, and maybe it's cliche, but huge guys are sometimes scared little boys inside. If you can grant him compassion and understanding, look, that'll probably go a long way with regard to his insecurities, which it sounds like does not just rest with eating competition, but it's up to you. Definitely not the a-hole though. This next story by Frederico. Am I the a-hole for not finishing my ex-wife's house? Long story short, I'm getting divorced. We agreed that she's keeping everything except my clothes, my dog, my daily driver, and a TV. We are doing 50-50 custody, and I pay her child support. We recently moved into a house that I renovated. Well, I mostly renovated. Needs interior doors, siding, and some trim work. $5,000 worth of stuff. I agreed to finish the work after I moved out and get on my feet. Also, it's paid for. This isn't the Hollywood Hills, but it's paid for, and it's very livable. I move out in 3 weeks. I have a new place to deal with getting ready, so deposit, first month's rent, and outfitting an entire home for myself and 2 children. $4,000, give or take if I go the resourceful route, thrift shopping, which I am. Keep in mind, I have just renovated her new house. I am broke. She picked a terrible time to call it quits. This has all been very civil until today. This morning I got a few texts and then a phone call chewing my butt out for not being committed enough to get her house done. We moved into this place 6 weeks ago and decided to get a divorce 3 weeks ago. She deserves to live in a finished house, and she's not willing to wait until January or whenever for it to be finished. There was more, but it's unrelated to the house. So, what the frick? When I explained, for the millionth time, that I have to get my affairs in order first at my new place and then I would finish her house, well, she went off again. I finally interrupted her and said, "This is frickin' insane. I really think I might be insane. Like, I'm not doing stuff all for you at all now. Frick you," and hung up. I'll be honest, saying that felt wonderful. But now I'm a self-serving and selfish a-hole because I didn't keep my word. This was all about keeping her comfortable, and now I'm the bad guy because I told her to stick it instead of taking another butt-out chewing from her. Am I really the a-hole? Nata, it's not about what she thinks she deserves. It's about what you can and will do. And now she knows. If she wanted a finished house, she should have waited until you were done renovating before kicking you to the curb. Rookie mistake on her part. Maybe her new dude can finish the work. If you're giving the house to her, then it is no longer your problem. You may have had the intention to finish the renovation, but that was before the divorce. Honestly, it sounds like she is getting the better end of the deal. Yeah, and that I have to agree with. Unless there was some sort of contract you signed with the divorce proceedings that you had to finish this house off for her livability, then okay, yeah, you're pretty much free to go, dude. Though, of course, as well, if there were things that were a safety issue, then I definitely think you're obliged to finish those off, or at least organize someone to do it for her. But definitely, by the sounds of it, no, you're pretty much in the clear here, buddy. Definitely not the a-hole. I cannot genuinely find any way that you could be. So hey, my wary listener, if you think otherwise, why not let me know? I'm open to your opinions. Wait, hold up, my god, would you look at that? Would you looky there at how far along you are in this YouTube video? Sounds to me, well, looks like to me that you enjoyed it. Oh yeah, you ready for it? Are you ready for a cliche outro? You should do whatever you want. Probably grab some water, actually, if you haven't drunk any water today. You know, it's very good to hydrate yourself. I recommend hydration. It's a good way to remind yourself to like the video and subscribe. Hi! Gotcha! You thought you were free from being reminded to support the content on this channel. You fool. Anyway, I feel like we're just panning for runtime now, so bye, see you later.